Hello there, fellow grognards. Al here. Got a video regarding the Dark Eldar, and I was having a look, and I was just, reminiscing about the old Dark Eldar, thinking about what we've lost, because, I've got like 6,000 points of Dark Eldar, more or less, and have been playing them since 3rd edition, when they first came out. And I think there's no denying that they've changed quite a lot since that time. So I thought we'd have a quick look at the latest release, and then I'd detail a few of the changes I've noticed over the years and how I don't think that Dark Eldar are particularly going to survive contact in their current form with 10th edition. Let's have a quick look at the new Dark Eldar, or the Drukhari as GW insist on calling them. So here they are. Probably a little bit sooner than I thought. They only just showed these guys off, but this is the last Codex for 10th edition as far as we're aware. There it is. I mean, yeah, it's alright as far as Codex covers go, I suppose. I don't find any of them particularly inspiring these days with this kind of foreground with the background faded out. I prefer the old style. It sort of reminded me of heavy metal album covers. A bit of old work reused for my 6th edition for the special edition Codex. So take one of these nightmarish raiders with 136-page Codex Drukhari, 23 datasheets. They've lost quite a bit. They've had the grotesques taken out. They've had the Court of the Archon taken out. They've had the Beastmaster, so all that stuff gone. Chimera, Warp Hounds, the Urgles, all that kind of thing's all gone. Razor Wings, I think that was called. And Ewan McCarth, another character, has been lost. And they used to have so many characters. It's kind of shameful what's happened to the Dark Eldar, if I'm being completely honest with you. I really don't agree with it at all. So yeah, 23 datasheets they're down to. Background and lore for the scheming factions of Commorragh, supported by art and photography of miniatures. I just wanted to quickly mention this because obviously there has been a leak of the Dark Eldar Codex and the lore for each section. Like I don't have the lore section in the leaked material, but the actual lore for each unit entry, which is like literally a little paragraph, is just pathetic and so generic. It really is. It's just like, it almost feels like AI wrote it, because it nearly always sounds the same. It's about, being too fast for enemy fire to hit before they exact their murder or something like that. I've noticed that it's just also generic. You can have words like butcher, murder. You can have bloody, but I've seen no mention of blood. So it's really weird. In the old codexes, you used to have sort of very detailed descriptions of what the weapons would do. So there's one, I can't remember what it was, but it literally made your brain explode. And then when they were talking about Lilith Hesperax, they were talking about how she'd bathe herself in blood, and how during the fights there'd be bright arterial sprays of blood. And all that seems to be gone because they've toned down the lore so much. I also don't expect there to be any mention of slaves in this book at all. I'll be very surprised if there is. And there was all the way up until 8th edition. I never bothered with the 9th edition Dark Eldar Codex, so I can't tell you that one. But it was always a big part of what the Dark Eldar did. Went out, took slaves back to Commorragh. Now it just makes mention of captives and just bloody trophies and things like that. It does seem like the Dark Eldar have been very much toned down from a lore perspective, and I suspect that they were one of the factions, along with Slaanesh, that GW really struggled with. Because they are going for that younger audience now. They're going for that more impulsive, young audience, probably starting 8 and up. When I worked at GW, 25 years ago now, we always come back when you're 12. This stuff's too, there's titties in the Dark Elves army book. Come back when you're 12 kind of thing. And now it just seems like they're going for that younger crowd, and all the armies are just becoming really, I don't quite want to say sanitised, but just boring and generic. And there's nothing that seems to make the Dark Eldar stand out from what I can tell, from what I've read of the Codex. And all I've got is the army rules and, the data sheets, because that's all the Codex is these days. Bugger all lore in it. That was one thing about reading the old codexes that I really did love, was the very detailed bestiary sections, the things that would inspire you to want to collect a unit. Be like, oh man, that's really, really cool. Mention all the characters that they used to have. Duke Sicklis, Baron Saphrax, Capitator, Corella Dval. I don't think any of those even ever got models. Corella Dval did with the 3rd edition. She had a model. It's pretty shocking, to be honest, what's been done to the Dark Eldar. They've gained the hand of the Archon, you know, because that was a kill team set that got released. But that's it. A real shame that the Dark Eldar seem to have lost their edge, and I suspect the GW found it quite difficult to find a palatable way to get them to this new version they want, and just made them as bland as possible, which leads us on to Lady Malys, who is as bland as possible. Look at that face, there's nothing there. There's nothing there at all. So disappointing, so disappointing. The model itself is alright, I guess. If it's worth the money that they're going to charge for it, but it's alright, but just that face, there's nothing there. There's nothing there, and she looks like a human. Completely no personality, no character. So this is your army box. It's going to be like 160 quid or whatever. I've got all this apart from the Archon, so there is no point. I've got all this many times over. Like 20 Hellions, I think. Those could have done with a redo. Yeah, this is, you know, it's not a bad army, I suppose. It's not a lot of points, I don't think. There's no vehicles, no flyers or anything like that in it, but yeah, it's alright. Those models still hold up well, the Jez Goodwin models. I do like the fact that they've not... The scale isn't noticeably bigger on the new model. I thought the new Archon would be like, oh god, it's going to be huge compared to the Cabalites, but it doesn't look like it. It looks like they've carried that through fairly well. So they're going to be quite diminutive, these Eldar. But yeah, we've spoken about this guy before. He's nice. Yeah, really cool. Female version also looks alright. It's fine. Prefer the helmeted version to the face, but yeah. Make it a lady Dark Eldar Archon if you want. Combat Patrol we've talked about. Less said the better. Just weak, very weak. There's nothing. Yeah, I wonder if we'll see a Cabalite one later that might have cooler stuff in it. But yeah, for Kothon one, no grotesques. It just seems a bit pointless. Your racks aren't going to last long. I'll tell you that. And as I predicted, the racks have been reboxed into a box of 10, which is really weird because this model cannot be converted. So whatever this is, I can't remember what they call it, the leader version of it, you're now going to have 2 in a box, which is really weird. And from what I remember, I don't think you can convert him into anything else. I'm pretty sure that body comes as one piece. And they're very static models anyway, very boring models, all look very similar. They were never the greatest models, and they were horrifically overpriced. So I am glad they've gone to a box of 10. Hopefully they keep them down to like 42, 50. It's a lot, I know, but they were 30 quid for 5, which is just outrageous. Very disappointing dice. Obviously to match Lady Malys, but if you don't want that, who wants blue and yellow dice for Dark Eldar? That's like a Yandin or a Latok for Eldars. Yeah, horrible choice. Datasheet cards that are going to be outdated in no time. Yeah, why would you bother? And then this I thought was really weird. They put Combat Patrol Krieg in with this, and not the already revealed Combat Patrol Harlequins. Now, whether this is just to not rub it into the wounds, the fact you can't take Harlequins as part of the Dark Eldar anymore. I don't know why. With the reduction in Dark Eldar units, 23 data sheets, yeah. I don't know why you didn't just chuck the Harlequins in there, to be honest. Very odd. But they've gone with the and then you could have just released the Harlequin Combat Patrol with it, and maybe increase sales or something. I don't know. Maybe they're worried it would eat into sales of the Harlequin Codex, but anybody who's bought that supplement, it's not, you know, it would... I don't know, it's a bit weird. But they've released the Krieg one instead. Much better than the Imperial Guard Combat Patrol, in my opinion. Get Commissar, Command Section, a squad of Krieg, a squad of Krieg support weapons, and some weird clawed horses. I mean, I expect that to be popular. I think that's a pretty damn good Combat Patrol, to be honest. Me and Matt are going to, now that we've got them all, I think, me and Matt are going to go through and rank the Combat Patrols, I think. We'll do like a tier listing based on how good they are for a starter army, because Combat Patrol's not really about starter armies. Yeah, that one looks like a good one, to be honest. Yeah, I'm not going to lie. If you wanted to do Krieg, you could do worse than that. But I did want to say this. On one of the community, we're taking a look at the new Drukhari rules and delivering the inductile rules for the new edition of Warhammer the Horus Heresy. But there's also a fairly weighty reveal on Monday, which is currently prepping for a speedy arrival in the hallowed halls of a battle barge high in orbit. I think that's Assault Terminators. I think we're going to see Assault Terminators on Monday. Will my Space Hulk prediction turn out to be true? Don't know. Have to wait and see. But I've got a feeling we're going to see the Assault Terminators on Monday. Hopefully it does lead to a new version of Space Hulk. But yeah, the Dark Eldar, I've got a feeling they've been neutered really badly. Really badly. They needed a lot more love. They've waited all this time for this edition, and all they've got is Lady Malys, who, as I said, blank, and a new Archon. And they've lost more than they've gained. Again. They've lost Urim McCarth. He's just gone. I mean, grotesques, gone. Court of the Archon. Okay, I mean, they were resin models and stuff, but gone. Beastmaster and all that stuff, gone. If you've got those, tough. But it's okay because they brought out a load more Ultramarines and another version of Marneus Kargal, and just more Space Marines in general. So, yeah. Yet again, the Dark Eldar get shafted. Real shame. Real shame. And as I said, I don't expect their lore to survive Contact with Temp. I think it's going to be really toned down. I was surprised reading the old codexes. I read through the 5th and the 8th edition ones. And there's loads of really cool stuff in there about how sadistic they can do and exactly what they do. And mention of them having slaves and having slaves toiling all over the outside of buildings in Commorragh to build graven, carved images of their masters and stuff like that. There ain't no chance of that making it in. Just like Pathfinder and Dungeons and Dragons, they'll do away with the old idea of slaves. It happened to the Skaven. Skaven lost their Skaven slaves. And I'm not saying I need slaves in something to enjoy it. I'm not that sadistic like the Dark Eldar, but it just represents an overall toning down of the grimdark nature of 40k. And it's just going to end up just another generic dark fantasy sci-fi world. You mark my words. It's just going to end up as generic and boring as everything else. Nothing that I have read in the Dark Eldar Codex inspires me to want to collect Dark Eldar. From any perspective, from a lore perspective, from a modelling perspective, an army building perspective, maybe from a gaming perspective. Maybe you'll see some of the special rules and be like, oh, that's going to be brilliant. I can play that competitively and wipe a load of models off the board and my willy will feel big. But from a hobbyist perspective, I see nothing at all to appeal, to make me want to do the Dark Eldar, which, as I say, is a crying shame. We've got 6,000 points from way in. It's going to be the Cabal of the Howling Stars. Bonus point if you get that reference, guys. Yeah, shame. Oh well, maybe 11th, eh? Anyway, doing the Angels of Death Codex 2nd edition with Matt later on Chebs. Get to see what a real Codex looks like. But for now, that's your Dark Eldar Codex coming to you soon. And I'll be back with another video soon. Till then, stay grognard. Bye.